So, today, we're going to be talking about the weekly alignment principle. And this is important because the other day, I was going over a few things throughout my week, right? And I was just recapping the things that I did throughout my week and getting ready, getting prepared for the next week. And then it hit me. I was like, you know what? I'm starting to recognize a pattern in the way that I'm operating. And I thought that it would be ideal to create some sort of principle behind everything that I've been doing this week and the following weeks. So that's why I created the weekly alignment principle. And the weekly alignment principle is basically the idea that your life starts to change when your weeks stop being random and start being aligned with the person you say you're becoming. So how you enter the week shows how you've been practicing intentionally. And the whole premise behind this is to create more awareness and attention in the days and the weeks that you're having, so that way you can start to create a rhythm and flow to your week, so you're not burning, you're not having this burnout, right? You're not just doing things and burning yourself out, and then you're tired and you're overworked and overwhelmed and you don't even know what you did or what you got out of that week. So I got 3 main points that I'm going to be covering in this topic today, starting off with my favorite, the random week trap. We're going to start off with this one, the random week trap. So the week trap is when a person enters the week without intention, direction, or structure, then spends the rest of their week reacting instead of creating. So this can look like a lot of different things, right? Let's just kind of walk it out. So this is your week, and let's just say this is you, right? You spend your whole week, first you start off, you have no plan. You're waking up and you have no plan for your life. You're reactive to everything around you in your environment. You're saying yes to too many things at one time, so that's causing overwhelm. You're allowing your emotions to dictate your disciplines. So you're allowing your emotions to dictate your disciplines. You're ending your weeks tired and unclear on what actually helped you to move forward. So you're unclear. And not only that, you're forgetting the goals that you set for yourself. So you have no goals, right? All of these things tie into the random week trap, and this is what you tend to see on a daily basis. And what happens is you repeat these cycles over and over and over and over and over again, and you're expecting a different result, but you always end up back at your beginning, back at the baseline of starting over and over and over again. But we want to get you to the point where you can overcome that. So one thing I want to illustrate for you real quick, right? Let me get this, right? All right, let's just say this is your productivity, right? Let's just say that's your productivity ratio, and this is your busy ratio, right? Your productivity to busy ratio. So you're busy, right? This is your busyness. You're super busy. You're all over the place. You're running around. You're doing things, right? But your level of productivity is staying the same. Why do you think that is? Just because you're busy, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're being productive. There's a difference between being productive and being busy. Busy is just activity. It's unconscious activity that you're doing on a daily basis. But being productive is intentional activity that leads to a certain outcome. So you're busy throughout your days, throughout your weeks, but you're not productive. And as you continue throughout your day, your weeks, which turn into months, your productivity continues to decrease over and over time, because even though you're getting busier, you're not getting more productive. You're not getting more intentional. And you continue to live on this loop over and over and over again until you experience burnout, fatigue. Now you're unclear, now you're uncertain, and now you don't know how to move forward. But you know what? We're going to fix that in the next point. Moving on to the next point. But here's the main point around this, right? Before I move on, this is the main point that you need to focus on. A random week creates a random life. And you don't want to live life randomly. Because when you live life randomly, it's unclear, it's uncertain. And it's not just for you. It's unclear for the people around you, because nobody really knows what you're doing or like where you're going. It's just like they just see you doing stuff, but it doesn't make sense. Like nothing's adding up. Nothing is connected to the other. Because most of the times your actions have to connect. Like something has to connect to the other to make it make sense. So that way you can see how you're growing, right? The key line behind this whole point is, if you don't align your week with your future, your week will default back to your past, like I explained to you earlier. So now we've figured that out. Now we're going to get into, now that we got an understanding of what your weeks are looking like, now we're going to get into what I call the alignment check. Now, this is the alignment that you need on your car, although you might need an alignment, honestly. This is the alignment on your life. So, the alignment check is the moment you pause before or during the week and ask whether your time, energy, habits, and decisions are actually connected with who you say you're becoming. So, you got to understand this, right? Alignment is not just productivity. Right? Alignment asks a specific key question. It asks, what is actually, it asks, what does this match the life that I want? So are my actions matching with the life that I say I want? So the biggest thing you got to understand is, what kind of life do you want to live? And then once you ask that question, then you get into, do the actions that I do match up with the life that I really truly want? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So let's just say, for instance, right, before we get into any descriptions, there are 4 key points that you have to understand when it comes to the alignment check. And that's identity, priority, energy, and evidence, right? Identity, priority, energy, and evidence. These are the 4 main keys that you need when you're checking yourself on the alignment, right? When you're doing the alignment check. So identity is, it asks, who am I becoming? Priority asks, what actually matters this week and what's actually working. Energy asks, where is my focus going? And evidence is, what actions prove I'm becoming that person. So you got to understand your identity, everything ties into one another. Your identity needs evidence. Your identity needs evidence, so that way you can prioritize your energy, so that way you can have more focus and more alignment. So everything coincides with one another. So let's break it down like this. Let's say, for instance, right, this is your growth chart. This is your growth chart. This is you again. Hey, you. And let's go back with this is your productivity, right? And this is your busy, right? Your productivity busy ratio. So this is the first week. This is week 1. This is how week 1 tends to look. This is just an example. You're busy, you're busy, you're busy, you're busy, you're busy. This is after you've created all of this. This is after you identified who it is that you want to be. Now you're starting to prioritize, and now you're starting to put your energy in the right places. Now you're gathering the evidence, and the evidence is backing up that identity. So now you're busy, you're busy, you're busy, you're busy like before. But now your productivity is starting to match up with that busy. So now week 1, you're getting an understanding of who you are, what you want to do, how you need to do it, how much time and energy you have allotted to the things you want to do. And now you have evidence to go off of, so that way you can create a plan that you can actually operate from. This is your week 1, right? That's week 1. But here's what happens. Here's what happens. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Here's what happens. Right? Here's what happens. So this is you again, right? This is your growth chart. Right? Now we're stepping into week 2. Week 2. Again, you have your productivity, and you have your busy. Right? Your productivity stays consistent, stays the same. It's growing, as a matter of fact. But here's the thing about your busy. Your busy starts to slowly but surely decline. Now, why is that? It's because with your busy, you're allocating your energy totally differently now. So before you were so busy just doing stuff unconsciously that you developed this habit of just doing work unconsciously. You wasn't really thinking about the work that you was doing, but you was doing work nonetheless. So now that you've gotten more intentional about how it is you're operating, your busy starts to decrease, because after the 2nd week and the 3rd week moving on, you're being more intentional about the actions that you're taking. So now your productivity is increasing, which means you're getting results. And now those results start to compound interest. And now you take the energy from each week that you have and you pour it over. And now the work that used to feel hard and intense, now it's starting to develop a flow. Now you're starting to get into a flow to where you don't need to exert so much energy that you had to in the beginning. So even though your busyness is decreasing, your productivity is increasing, which means your intention is getting better. That means your energy allocation is getting better. That means that all of these things right here, everything is starting to align. Everything, your identity, your priorities, your energy, everything is starting to align and is making this number or this chart go up, right? So that's the biggest key that you want to know, that you want to understand in the alignment process, in the alignment check, all right? The main point about this is alignment is when your schedule starts giving evidence to your identity. That's when you start to realize, like, okay, now I'm starting to see how things are operating in my own life now. The key point that you want to take away from this is your week should be evidence of the person you say you're becoming. Point blank, period. So now that we've gotten there, now we're going to move on to the final part of this. I hope y'all are enjoying this so far. I hope y'all are getting some value out of this. If you are, hit the like button and comment. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections. All right. Okay, so the final point we're going to hit on tonight is the alignment check. The aligned check. The aligned week, should I say. And what is the aligned week? The aligned week is a week intentionally designed around habits, priorities, responsibilities, and actions that support the next version of your life. So now this is when you start to get into the flow of your weeks. Now you're starting to be more intentional about how you're moving, how you're operating. And not only that, you're actually planning ahead of time. So now you already have a set schedule of what it is that you have to do. And now it just gives you the opportunity to just boom, just execute and just operate and just move how you're supposed to move so you can get done what needs to get done, right? It's not about, but understand this, right? This is not about just creating a perfect schedule or nothing like that. This is more about creating purpose. This is just creating meaning. Just because you have this aligned week, just know not everything is going to go as you planned it to. But the point is, you're creating consistency, you're creating discipline, you're creating structure, you're creating habits, you're creating order. This is the most important part about this whole process. We're not trying to get you to get a better schedule. We're trying to get you to get a better mindset around your schedule. If you can just plan some things, even if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, then it just makes the whole process easier because you already know like what it is that you have to do. Like, okay, example, right? This is my fourth time trying to record this video because so many things was happening at one time. It was getting late. I had to feed my daughter. She's spitting up. She's crying. She's all over the place. The dryer tripped the breaker, so I had to go downstairs and turn the dryer back on. So it was a lot going on, right? It was a lot going on. So in my mind, I was thinking like, man, I'm about to just do this tomorrow because I'm getting tired and I don't even think I'm gonna get through this. But because I'm operating on this alignment principle, right? In my calendar, this is supposed to happen. Now, it didn't happen in the time that I wanted to happen because, I work and I get off of work. I get home probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I record. I'm expecting myself to record around like 7:30. It is, what time it is right now? It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. It's a new day, right? It's 1:16 in the morning. But I was like, I'm committed to the process of growing and becoming a better version of myself because I could easily fall back on the habits and the excuses of it. I'll just do it tomorrow, or it's not that big of a deal. But this is not about me just doing the thing I said I was going to do. This is about me gathering and collecting evidence of who I said I am becoming. So when I look back, I can say, okay, boom, this is the evidence of who I'm becoming, because your whole life, you've only had evidence of who you weren't. You've only had evidence of the person that you don't want to be. You've always had evidence of how things didn't work, or how things don't work, or how things never go the way that you expect them to, right? You just constantly had evidence of those. So now in this moment, during this process, now you're developing better habits. Now you're getting better evidence. Now you're starting to see how things are working out because of the person that you're becoming. But not only that, the word that you're keeping to yourself as you're becoming the person you say you are. That's the biggest key. The evidence is just literally just keeping your word to yourself. And that's the hardest part, because life is going to test you. Whenever you say you want something, life is going to test you. If you say you want to be more aligned in your life, you say you want to live more of an abundant life, guess what? Life is going to test you in so many ways. Like, I feel like I just went through a test, and this is the proving ground right here, right now. You want to be disciplined? Life is going to give you things to be disciplined about. You want to be patient? Life is going to give you things to be patient about. You want to be focused? Life is going to deliver you distractions. That's just the way it works. So, once you actually start to align yourself throughout the process, you will start to see the evidence show up in your life. And let me show you what this looks like too. I just want to give you kind of an idea of what this may look like, right? Let's just say, for instance, this is your calendar, right? Let's just say, for instance, this is your calendar, right? Boom. That's your calendar. And what you want to do is you want to create blocks for yourself. So an example could be like, this could be your health block, right? So your health block, you'll go to the gym, yoga, meditation. Okay, that's one block. You have your family block, right? Family block, and that's like time with your wife, right? Time with your daughter or your children. I'll say Ajna, that's my daughter. Or just presence, right? That's the family block. You have your content block, right? This is your content block. And your content block can consist of planning, recording, editing, publishing, right? Right? All these things are just tied into your calendar. I just want to give you like this example. I want to write it out because it makes more sense if you see it. Next, you have your income block, right? This could be things like investments or coaching or something like that, right? Investing, coaching, framework, things of that nature. And then finally you have like a reflection block. And reflection is where you review what has transpired throughout the week, right? So you just in review. You review what worked, what didn't work. You review how your week went. You review your reaction, your responses to the whole week and things of that nature. And you just put all of these things in your calendar. And you can even go a step further. You can even break it down to morning, noon, evenings, and nights. Like the gym could be in the morning, family in the evening, content in the noon, reflection and income at night, right? This could be at noon, actually, your income at noon, and then your reflection can be at night, right? But I just say this to say that this right here is how you start to set up that intention, because when you look at your calendar, you know exactly what it is that has to be done, right? You know exactly what it is that has to be done. So, key point, main point, right? An aligned week turns your future into an idea. An aligned week turns your future from an idea into something practical and obtainable. See, a lot of us think that the future is so far off, but really the future is happening right here, right now. And the only way you actually start to see and understand how close the future is when you start to plan, is when you start to create these blocks and start to align your week with the person that you say you're becoming. And the key line behind all this is your future doesn't become real until it shows up on your calendar. Your future doesn't become real until it shows up on your calendar. The future really doesn't become real until you start to show up for yourself. Because when you start to show up, that's when the future happens in the present. I hope that you found this valuable. Let me know in the comments what you think. But thank you for being here on this journey with me. Thank you for allowing me to be on this journey with you. And I truly believe we do better when we grow together. So let's continue to grow with one another. And until next time, peace and progress.